Well, we've got some breaking news here at Northern Alliance Financial. As you may or may not know, the Social Security Fairness Act was passed on January 5th of 2025, and that affects many of our clients that are out there, as well as many constituents in the state of Maine. And today at the office here in the headquarters in Auburn, we have a number of actual participants in the Maine State Retirement System. We have Michael McRoy here, and we also have Martha Casey. And so I want to just give an introduction of yourselves and what part you played in the Maine State Retirement System. So, Mick?
Sure. For many years, I was a teacher and eventually becoming an administrator. And through those years, we could not, through the Maine State Retirement System, have Social Security withheld from our income. So I knew during that time that that might have an impact, as we came to find out with the windfall elimination provision. And I had visited Social Security on a couple of occasions just to get more information about that. In my particular situation, I also had many years in the working environment where Social Security was withheld. And so, unlike maybe some educators who have been in the system forever and did not have any Social Security earnings, in my case, I did. So when it came toward the end, I didn't have the requisite number of years in, which was 30 years, but I was getting close to that end. And at the same time, because of when I retired and began withdrawing my pension, and as well as going on to Medicare, that's when I started seeing the impact of that provision. And there was nothing I could do, and Social Security basically said the more you can work in the private sector and have Social Security earnings, the more you can work toward that 30-year mark. I think I was at 26 years when I actually retired. So that's what I ended up doing after I retired. And I actually made up those 4 years and reached the 30.
Right. So you actually, the years of substantial earnings is the thing that determines what the windfall elimination provision is going to be to your Social Security. And if you close under that gap somewhere between 20 and 30 years, if you have 30 years of substantial earnings, the WEP is completely eliminated, which in your case, that's what you did. But you had to work towards that.
Correct.
The new legislation wipes it out without having to work. So that you did a lot of work to get there. But many people couldn't do that because they have to work an additional 10 years beyond like what a full career in Maine State Retirement. So appreciate your work, man.
Sure. And of course, they made it retroactive, but not far enough for me to ever take advantage
Reap
of
the benefits of that. Yeah, great. Thank you. Martha, so tell us a little bit about you and your situation.
Well, I taught in public education for 27 years. I also taught at a private school, the Spurwing School, for 10.
Okay.
And early on, as growing up, never really paid attention to my Social Security statements and didn't really know what WEP GPO was.
Right.
It wasn't until maybe 20 years ago, a friend of mine informed me about it. And after looking into it, I thought, well, I'm paying into Maine PERS on
Sure.
pension. Right. But I thought, well, my pension will be reduced. So I've been preparing for that. It's just interesting. A lot of teacher friends did not know about it.
Right.
I have a friend who just before she retired didn't know anything about it. And so, it's had a definite impact on our financial planning is the retirement.
Sure, let's talk a little bit about that because I heard some exciting news coming into this meeting today. So,
Well,
with the passage of this legislation, that's gonna enable you to
buy a new car. Yeah, picking it up Monday. But I was planning around the extra income. I'm collecting Social Security now. It's still at the reduced amount, 44%. So I'll be waiting for the additional amount to be turned and added to a benefit.
Sure.
So
Sure. Do you find that, just kind of in closing, that I know you mentioned that in your particular case, Martha, that you really weren't even aware of this whole decrement to your Social Security until you started thinking about retirement? Do you think that's the case, Mitt, that most people really don't understand like this is going to affect them or how it could affect them?
That's correct. Unless the word gets out or some of the other teachers who have had exposure to this can, really just convey that message. A lot of them do not know. And even if they did know, it's very difficult to understand how it works.
Right.
Even the documents that Social Security puts out, and you can see it. I mean, as I said, I had a couple of meetings with them, so I could figure it out.
Right.
But yes, I think that's a concern that people would have, is they don't have enough information.
Sure.
And I will say this, at least what Social Security is doing now is they've created a little web page or website just to answer Q&As on this particular act alone.
Nice.
So it is a place to go and at least look into it for those who want more information. But even for Social Security, this is going to be a challenge because
for sure.
this is not necessarily something they have to do moving forward. They have to go back to a past date, which is going to be January of 24, which is the retroactive date, and figure out how that back pay is going to work and how all of this is going to work. And it's going to take them time.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you'd like to add in terms of things that you've heard, Martha, with friends or people that could be affected?
yes, there is a Facebook group now called Guardians of Social Security. If anybody wanted to join, I was a teacher. There's a lot of regular daily information that people could access there. But I have to say, Lance, when my husband and I came to meet with you, the first person that really understood WEP and GPO was like, oh, this guy knows about it, and we appreciate that. You have someone that's helping us that really understood what I was going for, WEP's having to deal with.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and the beauty of this situation is, well, we thank you for participating in this brief little video that we put together for all of you who might be affected by this legislation. Mick Roy and Martha Casey, advocates for Social Security fairness, and the good news is that the WEP and the GPO have been eliminated. So how that affects you or how that might affect you, we don't know, but if it might affect you, I am going to actually be rewriting chapter 4 of my book, which deals with WEP and GPO. And I would encourage each of you, any of you that could be affected, or if you know people that could be affected by this legislation, please have them call the office, 207-241-7430. They will get a complimentary meeting with one of our advisors, a copy of my book, and we will help you to determine, at no cost to you, completely complimentary, what decisions that you need to make that could impact your income for retirement. Thanks for joining us. Take care.